Welcome to my YouTube channel. I am Ana Paula Alves. I'm a psychologist from Brazil, and today I'm going to interview Antonia Bowring. She is one of the best executive coach of America, and today we are going to talk about her book, which is called Coach Yourself. So I'm very excited to understand more about her idea and share with you. Antonia, thank you very much to give me this interview.
I'm very happy to be here, Paula.
Thank you so much. So, Antonia, can you please present yourself to my followers, to the people who is listening to us here?
Sure. So I'm Antonia Bowring. I'm Canadian, but I've lived in New York 25 years, and I've been running my own executive coaching practice for a decade. And I coach founders, early stage high growth leaders, leadership teams, and most recently wrote a book that I published a couple of months ago about my most important go-to coaching frameworks.
Okay, that's fantastic. Antonia, first of all, I want to tell you that I read your book, and
Thank
I
you.
think it is so...
Did you write a review?
Yes.
Okay, good.
So this book is so interesting, especially if you wanted to know more about yourself. And
Yeah.
then this book has been teaching me more about the importance of learning about your values.
Yeah.
And then first of all, I would like to understand from you, why is it so important to understand about your values when you have a goal, when you want to achieve a goal?
Yeah. So that is a great starting point, Paula, because it's one of the first frameworks I present in the book. And it really is the nuts and bolts, the base of everything, knowing what your values are. Because when people talk about having a North Star, having these big goals and dreams, my first question is, what are your values? Because without knowing what your values are, I personally do not understand how one projects, manifests, and has a vision for the future. So the first exercise in the book is all about identifying your values, your core values, and as importantly, how do you activate them? And when I say activate your values, I mean both in terms of your the intentions you have, the long-term goals you have, and how you live your life every day. You have to activate your values every day.
I think it is fantastic actually when I read this about the value, the importance to understand your values. I understood how important it is, because me too, in the past, when I didn't know about my values, I used to follow up what the others want, know what I wanted for my life.
Well, that's exactly it. Your values are what really become your North Star. They are what give shape and purpose to what you do. And I think, Paula, you make a really important point. They also serve as helping you understand what to say no to. Because if it's not clearly supporting and reinforcing your values, maybe it's something you should consider not doing.
That's fantastic, Antonia. But Antonia, what is the advice? Obviously, people will put this book in the internet, and absolutely think people need to buy this book.
Yes,
and then
thank you.
To learn more about your values, the importance, né?
Yeah.
But what is the advice that you could give to someone, the people who is watching us speaking, to how can someone achieve their values, how they can understand their values?
Well, how can someone understand their values? First of all, I think the exercise in the book helps a lot, because it's asking you to go through, there's a kind of detailed exercise to go through that leads you to refining and reducing the number of your values, really to the core ones. But then I think you also can use that as a stepping stone in using some of the other frameworks, because when you use some of the communication frameworks or managerial frameworks, you can always refer back to, am I serving my core values with these other tools and strategies and frameworks?
That's fantastic, Antonia. Another thing is you talk about in your book about the ADHD, isn't it?
ADHD.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
in
then
English.
I thought it was so important this part because why? Many people who has this kind of disorder, they think that oh, I have ADHD, I'm not capable to do anything. And as you tells in your book, you have also this kind of ADHD, and knowing yourself, knowing that you have ADHD is very important to accept, and knowing and also accept that you have this disorder. So can you talk more a little bit about it?
Sure. So, first of all, and I think it might be a translation thing. So, I wouldn't personally, if you don't mind me saying, I wouldn't call it a disorder.
Okay.
What I would say simply is if you have ADHD, you have different brain wiring.
Okay.
Your brain is wired differently. And I like to talk about ADHD in terms of the profound and the practical. Because particularly for those of us, myself included, who got an adult diagnosis of ADHD, it means I had a lifetime of wondering what was wrong with me. Why can't I focus? Why can I not have a meaningful conversation in a crowd? Why can I not hear what someone says in a lecture hall? I can't tell you how many presentations I've been to. I don't know what they said. My brain can't hold the attention.
Okay.
And I felt like, well, it's me. What's wrong with me? I should be able to do that. And I call it profound that when I got my diagnosis, it allowed me to look back and make sense and go, okay, it's not that that I have a problem. My brain is wired differently.
This is the reality.
And now I know that. Here's what I can do about it. So, for example, and this is where we are kind of talking about now the practical. So if I met you, Paula, at a party with a lot of people and noise, I would never try and have a conversation in that room. I would say, Paula, I have ADHD. Can we go in that corner so that I can focus? And then I can focus. But if we were here, I would be looking around. Not because you're not interesting, but my brain just can't hold the attention with too much stimuli. So for me, changing your self-narrative when you get a diagnosis like this is so important, because what you're doing is letting go of a lot of shame. And then at the same time, it's not for me enough just to know it. Now I feel very strongly that with this information, what are the tools and strategies, and my favorite word, scaffolding, that I need to put in place in order to maximize the creative gifts of my ADHD, but to minimize the challenges it presents.
Right? That's fantastic. Because this is the way you work, isn't it? This is the way you function, your brain functions. So accepting is fantastic. The
first step. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Anyway, Antonia, I loved to interview you. It has been fantastic, and I know many people will be very interested to understand more about your book, because there is so many interesting things here. And then thank you so much to give me this interview, this opportunity. And then how can someone, if someone wants to buy your book, Coach Yourself, how they can do that?
Perfect. Thank you for that. You can find the book on Amazon.com. Just search Antonia Bowring, Coach Yourself. You can go to my website, ab-strategies.com, and there's a link. You can find me on LinkedIn, Antonia Bowring, and there's a link to the book. And you can follow me on TikTok, Antonia Bowring 963, where I post every day about ADHD.
Oh, that's it. Fantástico.